Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm super excited for my guest today. Her name is Jennifer Tardy. She runs Jennifer Tardy Consulting, which is a D&I organization in the United States. Before I get into it, I'm super excited because I learned about her from her newsletter. Now, her newsletter reaches over 30,000 people, and that happened in less than 1 year. I wanted her to talk about that. She has an ebook out. It's called The Hiring System, and it's Hidden Obstacle Course. Not only that, she has a diversity and around us, a diversity program that's around recruitment and specifically for recruiters. Anyways, without further ado, I'm going to let Jennifer Tardy take it from here. Welcome, Jennifer Tardy.
Hello, and thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate you.
It's wonderful to be here with you.
So yeah, you're right. We at JTC, we tell people all the time that we stay in our lane. So there are many organizations out there that focus on diversity and inclusion, but under the umbrella of diversity and inclusion, we focus specifically on recruitment. And so we take it as our priority to be experts in all things related to diversity recruitment and inclusive hiring. And so through that, we have, just a plethora of resources for hiring managers. And one of them is around our training program, which is Diversity Magnet Recruiter.
I want to know about that because quite often in this space, when I'm going to listen in different events, a lot of times people are saying we want to hire diverse talent, but we don't know where to seek them out. And then I know that there's certain parts in different countries or what have you. So in America, here in the UK, where maybe they don't have suppliers of necessarily of diverse talent. But when I saw your program, I thought this is the answer. So it really is. It's the answer. It's like, let's work with what we got, but let's train them to be more diverse, more inclusive in their thinking. How did your program come about?
So I've spent the last 15 years in corporate, specifically in recruiting and leading recruiters. One of my biggest frustrations was when an organization would say, hey, we have an initiative, we want to increase diversity. And then one of the first things that I wanted to do was make sure that our recruiters were ready for this work. And so as I would go out and look for training, I could never find exactly what I was looking for. And I became so frustrated because organizations who were offering training, the only thing that they really focused on was how to do these sophisticated Boolean string searches. And that is not diversity recruiting. And you know what they say, if you can't find what you're looking for, then create it. In order for me to create this program, I actually needed to become a student of diversity, inclusion, and equity and belonging. And so I had to dive deeply into that work, not just DEI, but also social justice, also history, specifically US history. And so I pulled all of that information together to create this 7-module course where we go deep. We go deep in helping recruiters to not just figure out where to find people or what to start doing. One thing that makes our program unique is that we also talk to recruiters about what they also must stop doing in order to increase diversity too.
Right. Tell me about what they must stop doing.
So one example of what a recruiter has to stop doing is accepting feedback that is not meaningful from the hiring teams. So for instance, you'll have a candidate or a couple of candidates make it to the very final interview step. And then you may have a hiring team of 4 or 5 people that have interviewed that person. One person may come to that recruiter and say, oh, I give that person a thumbs down. And they don't have any written feedback. And the other person may say, oh, well, my gut instinct says that we probably should go with this other person over here. And so it's that type of, you can't use that feedback. And until you actually get a sense of why are you giving a thumbs down, why are you rejecting this person, it's typically in those decisions on why a person is being rejected that you can find the bias.
Right. There you go. I wanted to talk about that bias, that gut feeling. When I do my unconscious bias training, that's one of the things I'm saying. Hey, and Daniel Kahneman talks about it in his system 1, system 2 thinking. It really is your gut is where the biases lie.
That's right. That's
You know,
right. Absolutely.
I was just going to say, how have you found shifting that gut mindset when you train people in this diversity recruitment?
So one of the things that we do is we talk a lot about the power of an effective job description and being able to use that job description at different milestones in the hiring process. So if we go back to the example around feedback, if someone is saying, hey, this person really didn't make great eye contact, and so I don't think that we should hire them, so I'm going to give them a thumbs down.
Mm.
Then what that recruiter can feel empowered to do is say, hey, well, this position is an accounting position and it's, sitting, behind a computer and, and
Ah,
really focusing on, data behind the computer. Please explain to me how eye contact connects to the qualifications in this position. So now you're feeling more empowered to lean in with more questions that really challenges hiring teams to come back to the qualifications versus leaning on their intuition.
that is, I didn't even think about that in terms of that kind of comeback from the recruiter, right? And that
Mhm.
empowers them with your course. It does empower them to speak up because
That's
quite
a
often,
yeah.
conversations I've had is, where with the recruiter, they're saying, well, I kind of knew that they were XYZ. That's not a nice thing, right? That they had some biases or what have you. And so this empowers them to speak up.
It's a lot about empowering. Mhm.
How long is this 7 module course?
So it's a 7-week program. And so as each week, a new module opens up. And that very next week, we hop on a live call where we can go deeper in maybe one concept, or or I may even add in additional concepts. One thing that I enjoy most about the live trainings are that we go off on tangents on purpose.
Right.
Participants get
Okay.
to talk about real life situations that they're facing, and then we get to unpack and explore those situations. And that's where the most learning happens.
Oh, that's super exciting. That's super exciting. Now, I love all this, but I also want to talk about your ebook. It's called,
Mhm.
like I said, it's called Hiring System. It's hidden and it's Hidden Obstacle Course. How did this book come about?
I was listening to um, a YouTube video where Dr. Joy DeGruy was talking about how I think her grandchildren were in school, and how she was holding teachers accountable for their biases in teaching. And she said that if you don't know about your biases, if you don't know about how this shows up in a teacher, then I can't hold you accountable for it. But if I put it in front of you and I tell you that statistically, as teachers, your bias shows up in this way, now I can hold you accountable. And now you can be proactive with trying to figure out, what you can do about it.
Okay.
So it was that thinking that I said, how can I begin to show hiring teams where bias shows up in the hiring process? Because again, if you don't know about it, I can't hold you accountable. But if I share this with you, now you can proactively begin looking for it. And now you can be held accountable for minimizing or disrupting your own bias. And so in this ebook, The Hiring System and Its Hidden Obstacle Course, there are 113 different questions that you can ask yourself on the hiring team at different milestones in the hiring process to help you to identify bias that's hidden in the hiring process.
Can you tell people where they can find out more about what you do and the ebook, please?
Absolutely. So if you visit jennifertardy.com, you can find all of our resources there on the website. Plus, if you're interested in working with me, just click on the Work With Me tab.
Oh, that's so fantastic. So click on the Work With Me tab. I really hope a lot of people take you up on that. I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for our next conversation. Bye for now.